So adding music-themed digital escape rooms is an incredible way of keeping students engaged and learning, even on those days when it's like one of those lessons. You know, the ones where your students are just not really wanting to do anything. We all have them. And so digital escape rooms can be a great way to get past that. They're a great option for in-person or online lessons. And because they can be completed on any device, they're also incredibly versatile. And those are my favorite resources. I hope they're yours as well. So if we haven't met, I'm Rosemarie Penner from The Unfinished Lesson. I want a life where I can have it all. I want to be able to balance juggling work and a family life that includes twins. I want to have time and energy to be able to be creative in my teaching. And so the Unfinished Lesson started as my way of helping other independent music teachers be able to get balance in their life and creativity in their studios. Because guess what? You can have it all. Make sure that you watch until the end. I will be sharing 2 resources that will help you add music digital escape rooms in a way that's easy, it's creative, and it really keeps your admin time short. Number 1 is decide whose device you're going to use. Now, this may seem like a no-brainer, but there's actually different options here. You can use your device. So for example, this could be good for in-person lessons or online. I used to have 2 iPads. Actually, I still have 2 iPads. But when I taught in person and I was going to my students' homes, one of my students would be using my student iPad while I used the other one as I was teaching my other student. I used to teach where I'd have one student doing music programming or music lab, while I was teaching another student at the piano, and then usually it was siblings, then we would switch. And it was a great way for me to add this to my programming without it being extra time commitment from families or myself. But I used my own iPad for that. You could use your student's device. This is really great for if they're going to be doing it independently during the week. Obviously, you can't be giving them a device. I mean, you could, but it would really add up if you did that. And so just take a look and see which one is the best for you, right? What approach do your students need the most? Do they need time with you, or do they want to be independent? And sometimes even independent students, they need time with you. I've seen it both as a mom and as a teacher that our kids go through cycles, and sometimes even our most independent kids, it's a language of love for them, that the people that they care about are spending time with them, one-on-one time with them. And if that's the case, then maybe doing digital escape rooms with you is the best option. For teen students, so for example, one of my students, she was really interested in social justice. And I asked her, I said, well, do you want some digital escape rooms that you can do during the week that are on female composers that take a look at this, that they were really passionate about this as well. And so we ended up talking about the different stories and the different things that she found interesting, not just about the music, but about these women during lessons. But she was doing some of the work during the week at home. You could look at neurodiverse students. Maybe you need to do it with them. It could be on their device, but you're sitting right next to them, helping them do this on their own, or helping them do this with you. Or if it's that they're going on vacation, then it's your student's device, obviously, and it just needs to be level appropriate, or at least have hints within it to help guide them. So tip 2, decide when to use these digital escape rooms. Are they going to be a regular part of lessons or occasional? If it's a regular part, is it maybe music lab? Is it a brain break time? Or could it be homework. And I put that in quotations because I don't like telling my students that they have homework from me, because it just has a negative connotation. And I understand, and they understand, that practice during the week, yes, it requires effort and there is a certain amount of work to it, but I want it to be enjoyable. So I don't call it homework, but these are some activities you get to do during the week. A slight distinction, but whatever you want to call it. If it's occasional, maybe it's for group lessons. It could be vacations or makeup lessons. Or it could even be on those, it's really one of those days. You know, the days when your student doesn't want to play piano, they don't want to do anything, and you just need something that's going to draw them in and get them smiling so that you can turn things around. Digital escape rooms are fantastic for those days. I always make sure that I have them on hand so that if I need one of those activities, I can just quickly pull it up, put it on the screen, or when I was teaching in person, that I could just, grab the iPad and we could do that in lesson. That way, the whole lesson wasn't just a bust. We were doing something productive. So I talked a little bit about vacations before, but in terms of makeup lessons, for example, most of my students, when they're sick, we still do lesson. We're online. Even before I taught online, I used my cell phone. They used a cell phone. And we just did lesson that way. But sometimes they're too sick. And so this is a great option that you can say, you know what, on a day when they're feeling a bit better, they can do this and they can learn about music. They can learn about, a composer or whatever it might be that it's focused on. And it's all good. It's also really good for vacations when there's not going to be a piano. I like doing a mix of apps and digital escape rooms, and it's hilarious how many times I have heard from parents, oh yeah, and their cousins and their friends were all like gathered around them every day, and they wanted to be able to do these as well. So it's kind of funny to me that here's something that was homework, and it was something that everybody enjoyed. So the big thing here is really look at what fits with your studio approach. We all have a different studio approach. And so whatever works for you, that's the best option to go with. Tip number 3, decide if you want a topic or a set of concepts, or maybe you want both. So in terms of topics, there's lots of different options. You can go seasonal. So for example, in spring, my students have done Jazzed About Spring. It's a series of digital escape rooms. We've done holiday themed ones where for Valentine's Day, we did All About the Love, and that focused on different things. Musical eras. I wanted to do more music history with my students. And so that was how Travel Through Time was created. Composers, I wanted to include more female composers. So digital escape rooms, right? The Travel Through Time Women in Music. If you want to focus on concepts, then it could be music appreciation. Really, when I'm talking about music appreciation, what I'm talking about is listening to the music and what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? What drew you in, or what really turned you off about it? Basically having students kind of think about their musical preferences. And it's not just like, I like it or I don't, but really delving into the why. And even your youngest students can do this. They'll need some guidance at first to be able to find the words to express what it is that they're feeling or that they're thinking, but they can do it. You can look at musical terms, again, and the ones that I listed. I love going through music terms within digital escape rooms because it gives a practical application where students can hear examples of those musical concepts right off the bat. You can look at instruments. So Travel Through Time, we looked at era-specific instruments. We looked at the music history, again, Travel Through Time, or composers. And any of those, you can look at era specific and really get an understanding of why do we consider that a musical era? What were some of the things that were happening or that were used, or the approaches or thought processes that were common within that musical era? Now, I happen to prefer a mix of both topic and concepts, as you can tell, because a lot of the digital escape rooms that I mentioned, they overlap. The reason for this is it keeps it really timely. Students, for example, for Valentine's Day, they're kind of wanting some Valentine's Day stuff. Or, the weather's getting nice. They want to focus on spring. And it keeps it really engaging. And again, the digital escape rooms allow me to give them that without extra work on my part. And I think that's the key thing. The digital escape rooms, when they're set up correctly, or I shouldn't say correctly, when they're set up so that you don't have to mark them, that it automatically marks for you, it makes life easier. You get to be a super creative teacher, but like I said, you can just go into, like, say, your Google Drive, and you can pull up at the drop of a hat. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, how did you know that this was going to be the perfect activity? Well, I'm just such a fantastic teacher. And really, it's just, you have the right resource. All right. So as promised, I'm going to let you know about 3 resources that are going to help you take the tips from this video and easily add digital escape rooms to your studio programming. Okay, so here they are. The first one, there is an article on the site by the same name as this video, and it's going to give you more details on the how and the when to use digital escape rooms. If you're wanting more details on that side of things, then go check that out. You can get studio copies of any of the digital escape rooms that I mentioned. If you're like, okay, yeah, I want to add them, but I don't want to have to, spend a lot of time finding all of this, don't worry, I have you covered. There is a whole bunch right on the website, and I will make sure that you can access those. There is also a link to a video on how to include more female composers in your studio programming here on the channel. And so make sure that you go check that out. Be sure to check the description box below for links mentioned in this video to the article and also all the digital escape rooms that you could possibly want and that cover all those different topics and concepts I mentioned in this video. Be sure to click the subscribe button so that you keep getting more teaching ideas each week. I want to make your life easier, right? That balance that you can have, but also creative teaching ideas for your studio.